guys, welcome to 𝑽𝒊𝒐𝒍𝒆𝒕 Awakening. Today we're called Noir Nappers, featuring our Iron Jugulis from Paradox Rift with a homing headbutt attack, hitting 50 damage to any 3 of our opponent's Pokemon that already has any damage counters on them for 3 colorless. We've got our Glass Trumpet and Energy Switch for the acceleration, along with 3 𝑘𝒉𝒄𝒂𝒓𝒄 and 1 Terapagos EX, since we need a Terra Pokemon in play for us to use this card. So we're planning on doing a first turn triple snipe for 70, using our Iron Valiant EX and Hawlucha for the ping. So if our opponent is playing an Evolution EX deck, we can essentially take out 3 of their baby basics from the first turn going second, or if they're attacking with basic EXs, we've got Crown Opal for the wall. So how exactly do we accelerate energies on this thing while placing enough damage counters on our opponent's Pokemon for us to use this attack, taking out their baby basics before they evolve? We've got our 𝑧𝒄𝒂𝒓𝒄 EX for the instant draw, along with our Secret Box Ciphermaniac's code breaking, 1 Parasol Lady and 3 Cassiopeia for the free search, helping us play our item to charge energy, switch retreat to activate our Valiant's ability, and play the Hawluchas from our hand. We've also got 1 Academy and Night to help us save any 1 card from our hand before the 𝑧𝒄𝒂𝒓𝒄 discard in cases of emergencies, 10 basic grass energy for that extra 1 draw with Ogre Pawn, and 4 Ultra Balls, 2 Techno Radar with 2 Earthen Vessel in addition to our Secret Box for the discard. So that's all for the deck list. Now let's go for some gameplay and see how well this deck works. Alright, let's go for our first game with Noir Nappers. So we're up against Hydreigon EX with Dragapult, and they got Togekiss as well, so that's a lot of stage 2s. But then Dragapult is like an auto draw support, so I don't think it's too bad. And Hydreigon doesn't really need much. They just need the Grand Tree or Rare Candy with the darkness, 1 darkness, 1 colorless, pretty easy, just like the Crispin or Janine for Hydreigon to charge up, and then they can start disrupting by discarding the top 3 of our deck while doing big damage. So we got our Valiant on the bench, Terra in play. All we need is the Hydreigon and Hawlucha. So if we bench 2 Hawlucha from our hand, we got 2 damage counter on 2 of their bench Pokemon, and then we just need to switch retreat with the Valiant 1 time to place 2 more damage counter on 1 of their baby basics, either another of their bench or their active, depending on which one they have in play that are their main attackers. We want to be targeting their primary attacker or their primary search engine so that we can knock it out before they evolve, and then start to do some damage with Baryon Beam. We can actually attack with Baryon Beam, hitting 170 damage if we have the booster attached to our Iron Jugulis. So Baryon Beam actually requires only 3 colorless if you have the tool card attached. If you don't have the tool card attached, it's doing only 150, and you actually need to energy switch or play another Glass Trumpet to charge it up for enough energy to attack with it. Otherwise, you're gonna have to do your second homing headbutt, and I don't think the second homing headbutt is gonna do any damage at all, since we have no way of placing more damage counters on the other Pokemon. Just because we are focusing on doing that early hit to basically empty out their main attackers and then buy us more time to attack. We can actually use Ogre Pawn to do some damage as well, or even bench a Terapagos later on in the game, because we actually have a full bench though. Funny thing about this strategy is that we actually need not just Valiant but 2 Hawluchas on a bench. That's why we're playing 4 copies. We need the Terra as well and the Hydreigon, so that's essentially 5 Pokemons in play. I think we need 1 more. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure we have a full bench. If we have an extra spot, we can actually bench the Terapagos and then start doing Glass Trumpet, Energy Switch, or even retreat with the Hydreigon, retreat with the Iron Jugulis, and then attack with our beatdown for 180 damage, 150, I can't remember, 30x I think, so 150 damage with the beatdown. Or we can even do Crown Opal if we have enough energies on it, if we have the means, if we have enough. If we get a Cassiopeia, for example, from the top deck, we can actually search for Glass Trumpet and start doing some decent damage with Crown Opal. So it might be a bit difficult to play Crown Opal just because we have only 2 copies of our Water and Lightning. We want to be focusing on getting the grass energy as fast as possible for us to attach with our ability for the extra draw using Ogre Pawn, our 𝑘𝒉𝒄𝒂𝒓𝒄. So that's the reason why we have that many grasses. But we have 2 Earthen Vessels though, so early game, if you can get if you can search for the vessel with your secret box or something, or if you get it with your on the first hand, you can actually play your Earthen Vessel to search for your water and lightning energy, and then discard it early so that you can attach it. And then after that, if you retreat without the booster with your Iron Jugulis before switching into your Terapagos to attack, you could actually play the Glass Trumpet to reattach the water lightning onto your Terapagos, or even play Energy Switch as well. We got that card, so that is the failsafe. We got Energy Switch. But the reason why we're playing only 2 copies is because Terapagos isn't really that powerful in the current format. Well, it does work against Raging Bolt and Iron Hands EX, but not many players play that in the current format. In ranked, I mean, I don't really see a lot of players doing that. So that's the reason why we have, for now, only 2 copies of our Water Lightning. But if you want, you can just add like 3. If you have 3 copies of Water Lightning, then you have to cut down your Grass to 8 copies or less. I'm not too sure. Probably 8, right? So 8 plus 6, 14. Yep. So 8 is not really a good number for Ogre Pawn to draw on your very first turn going second, but it still works. So I prefer a secure 10 copy though. That's just my own preference. So the thing is, if you see a Raging Bolt, if your opponent has like Ogre Pawn in play with like Latias and Mew EX, if you know they're not playing any baby basics, if you're not evolving into stage 2 EXs, then you could actually prepare from the very first turn, from the start of the game. You can prepare your Terapagos already with enough energies. You can even play your Squawkabilly to charge it up, enough energy on your bench Terapagos, so that you can attack with Crown Opal on your next turn, right? It's quite difficult for Raging Bolt to do boss early. They might have Prime Catcher though, so if you don't do it on your first turn, it might be too late. But I don't think it's that difficult for us to play our Crown Opal on the very first turn, just because we have free search with Cassiopeia, we have our Ciphermaniac code breaking to put the right cards at the top deck. Secret Box as well, we can actually put like Secret Box and Earthen Vessel at the top of our deck before drawing them out with our Squawkabilly's ability, and then discarding them, play our Glass Trumpet with the Secret Box, you know, Energy Switch, and we got enough energy on the Terapagos to attack already. And then wall with Crown Opal. Obviously, you need the Energy Switch with the Glass Trumpet, so we might already have something in our hand before playing the Ciphermaniac. So hopefully that works. But I'm pretty sure we can do it, because we got 4 Ultra Ball, enough ways to discard our energies, enough ways to search for them. So Squawkabilly would definitely allow us to discard the energy as well. We don't have Cycling Road anymore, and we don't have Crispin anymore. We got instead Parasol Lady to help us draw out a bigger hand. We got Cassiopeia as well for the free search, because it's actually pretty easy to empty our hand playing that many items for this deck. We got a lot of basic Pokemons, but we got, as I said, a lot of ways to discard them from our hand. We got our Bracer as well, Techno Radar, my bad. It was first translated as Bracer before the English version got printed, so I keep calling it Bracer, but it's actually Techno Radar. And here comes the Togekiss. They actually got a 𝑷𝑗𝑃 on the bench as well, so we're gonna target that card on the next turn with our Cypher. We actually got a free draw with our Cycling Road. So this is a pretty different game. I don't know which one is better, but in my opinion, I would prefer Cassiopeia with the... It would be a lot easier to pull off the first turn Snipe using your Cassiopeia and Academy combo. It has a higher percentage, you have a higher chance of performing that on your very first turn going second, you know, from your first draw by pulling out the first hand. If you play Cassiopeia with Academy, if you play Cycling Road, you're only drawing 1 card though, so it's actually pretty difficult for you to get the right combos, for you to pull off your homing headbutt on the very first turn. But then the Cycling Road actually helps you later on in the game. So obviously Academy doesn't help. It only puts card back into the deck. It doesn't help you if you top deck a Cypher. You actually have to wait for your next turn before drawing out the right cards. So as you can see right now, we don't have to wait. We actually get to draw out our Crispin or our switch card. And we're actually doing Crispin as well for this game, which is gonna make our next attacker, is gonna make it easier for us to attack with our second Pokemon, right? Right after they kill off our Iron Jugulis. So as I said, if your Jugulis does nothing to their, if it's not very useful against your opponent, if it's not a useful strategy, you should be focusing on attacking with either your 𝑷𝑻𝑪𝒗 or Terapagos. So completely abandon your Snipe strategy and go for your basic EXs, right? Because after charging up your first attacker, we kind of have no other way of doing anything else except probably drawing cards with your Ogerpon and hopefully top decking your Cassiopeia or Parasol Lady or the right items, and then going from there. Our first attacker is our only attacker, but then it's a hyper turbo disruptive deck because you actually reset their bench, you reset their primary attacker down to 0. So if you take out 3 of their baby basics, can you imagine how disruptive that is? Even if they are playing like only support basics, if they have basic EXs, but if you take out their Zora before they use their, before they get to use the ability to draw out the cards they need, that could actually set them back a few turns for you to charge up enough energy for your next attacker. Or even attack with Baryon Beam and collect extra prizes before you, do something else. And if you get cards from the prize, you can use those cards as well to charge up your next attacker. So yeah, back to the game. They got no more Dreepy or Dinos on the bench, only the Togekiss, and they're choosing not to play a whiny voice because apparently they want to be doing a knockout. Yeah, pretty sure they're gonna play a Crispin on the next turn. So let's do our knockout here. Let's do the switch and Crispin. I don't think we need the switch though. We're actually gonna play Crispin because we don't have the booster. So always put the grass energy into your hand because obviously we got the ability. Crispin is interesting, Okay, we actually missed a turn for this game because I didn't realize. It's been a while. Sorry guys, I didn't realize that Ogerpon needs 3 grass to attack. So sorry, that was my bad. Made a terrible mistake right there. But then if we just attack with the Iron Jugulis though, if we Crispin on the Jugulis, they could actually knock it out on the next turn. They could possibly take it out and then leave us with 0 attackers. So that's what I was thinking. But then we still have the Vessel in our hand though. Problem is if they play cards like Iono or Judge, then we might not get our energies anymore. So I don't know. If we play Crispin, we can actually still attach the extra energy on our bench Ogerpon though, right? So there really isn't much to worry about if we just attack with the Jugulis. But I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I was just being complacent. Sorry guys. Yep, missed that one turn. So now they're gonna play their Crispin on the Togekiss. You would think they have a Cleffa or something like that to replenish their hand, but apparently not. Because they got not really a proper draw support. Only the Dracloak. They got quite a lot of copies of the Togekiss line though. I would imagine if you want your deck to be consistent, you should only be playing one Togepi, at most 2 Togepi and 1 Togekiss, right? But then I feel like if you're playing double stage 2 already, you don't really have the room for the Togekiss. And if you really want to squeeze it in, you should only be having 1 copy of each of them. Like maybe even 1 Togepi, 1 Togekiss, not even the Togetic. That's how tight this game is. Like sometimes you don't have the space to fit in the cards you want to add into the deck. I really want a Snorlax doll for my Valiant, but Oh, we actually don't have Hawlucha though. We have Snorlax doll instead of Hawlucha. So this game was a bit different. Sorry, I'm just realizing that because the voiceover was post-recorded. So sorry guys, if you have the Snorlax doll early though on your first turn in your first hand, you can actually put it in the active and then use it for the free switch, basically discarding it from the active so that you get to put your Valiant into the active spot, activating your first Valiant's ability without pulling off a switch or retreat, right? So it's basically another free switch card, but it only works if you have it in your first hand, and it only works one time. Obviously, you're not going to get two dolls in your first hand. That's pretty unlikely. And we actually have a Diplin as well, so this is kind of a one of the test runs of my Iron Jugulis deck, I suppose. Is still undergoing experimentation, is in the experimentation phase, but eventually we decided to just cut off the Snorlax doll, cut off a couple switch cards and our Jet Energy, and now we have less switches, 2 booster capsule. We used to have only 1 booster capsule, but we are focusing on doing a single switch and a single retreat, including our Hawlucha's ability. That would be enough for us to place the damage counters we need to take out 3 baby basics, essentially hitting 70 damage to 3 of their pre-evolved stage 2 EXs. So they actually get to play Wonder Kiss for the extra prize, which is pretty satisfying, I guess, for them. But oh well, at least no Hydreigon and no Dragapult. And we actually only did double Snipe for for this game, just because we couldn't pull off enough switches and we didn't actually bench the 3rd Valiant. We need the Squawkabilly as well, I just realized that. So if we have the Squawkabilly, the Terra, 1 Valiant and 2 Hawlucha in play, we can't really bench the Terapagos in addition to our Iron Jugulis, as I said earlier. So you can only choose to bench your primary attacker, so make sure you choose the right one. Choose wisely and don't bench too many of your EXs if you know they're playing a Raging Bolt, just because they can quite easily do enough bosses to get enough prizes. So only bench your Squawkabilly and your Terapagos, and don't put another EX into play. Just don't. Because if you wall with Crown Opal, you have to have enough, you have to make sure your opponent can't draw enough prize cards by taking out all of your bench Pokemon. So I think that's all for this video. Now we're up against Greninja Blaziken, an interesting combo that 𝑙DF just recently posted. But anyways, I think I'll just leave you guys to focus on the game. We'll see you on the next one. Have a great day and bye guys!